Okay, hello, this is Saltreza. Got a league match here for week 6 of season 70. This is not a full-on featured match or anything, but this week we've highlighted a series of different matches that have promotion implications potentially, and people are commentating a few of them. I'm going to be commentating this one, so this is Cattallia versus jaywood98 for Division J6. And just for a quick look at the standings, you can see that both these players are kind of in the middle at the moment. This is the last match of the division. The crucial thing here is that Cattallia can potentially overtake Lumamu to get into the second promotion spot. Would need 3.5 wins to tie Lumamu's win rate, and if I hover over, you can see Cattallia is in the lead on the head-to-head as well with Lumamu, which would be the tiebreaker. This is 4-2, so would win, would take the promotion spot with the same number of wins overall. So 3.5 wins is the goal for Cattallia. Unfortunately, Jaywood is not quite in a position to escape demotion, but I'm sure they will play their best regardless. Okay, so what have we got on this first board? I'm supposed to click on this kingdom button, right? I can't look at the board on this. So they're playing very quickly. Grotto is jumping out at me, which is a really strong card for getting good reliability, like a bit of pseudo thinning. They have opened with Leprechaun and Ports for Jaywood, and Cardinal and Leprechaun for Cattallia. Leprechaun is a surprising open to me because at this stage in the game, obviously you're not going to be able to play it with 7 cards in play, so really it's mainly just hexing you because the gold is not really what you want, I would think. What I think we should be doing here? So ultimately, the draw here is Laboratory. I guess Figurine as well. There's plenty of Village. There's also Capitalism, which doesn't look super relevant to me here because there is plenty of other Village. I guess theoretically you could use that to play like a bazillion Cardinals, but don't know how much the draw can really support how many bazillion Cardinals. More saliently, there is no trashing here, no thinning really at all. All you can do is put things away in Grotto, which is really good, but you are going to have those junk cards in your deck for the whole game. Yeah, Moyo agrees with me. So, I have not been following what the players are doing very well at all here. Looks like we've got some young witches out. Cattallia choosing not to play theirs here. Some golds have already gone, so Leprechaun's been played a few times. Fishing Village is the Bane, which is kind of nice in that Fishing Village is a good card, so it's something you're probably happy to put in your deck, but also of course it spends half its time out as a duration, so it's not going to be in your hand, stopping Young Witch from activating. And furthermore, because of the junky nature of this board with no thinning, it's going to be hard to consistently have anything in particular in your hands. So I think Young Witch is not a bad call here. You probably will get some curses into the other person's deck. You don't mind the kind of sifty effect where you get to discard some junk of your own. I'm not sure if I would have gone for it immediately, but I don't think they did. They didn't open with it. Or did someone open with it? No. But yeah, I think it's pretty fine to have a young witch here, so I like that. Mainly just not a fan of the leprechauns here. Who's got Grotto? So Jaywood here has just drawn some cards with a Grotto, well, 1 card, which is really good. I think probably just concentrate on putting labs in. Yeah, that's what I would be doing at this stage. And yeah, completely agree. We want to get to a case where Grotto is setting aside as much as possible. I could eventually even see consistently playing multiple Grottos per turn here. Not sure if we'll get to that point. I guess the other thing to note about this board is that the plus buy is a bit weak, right? It's just figurine, which is okay, but you have to discard an action card in order to get your plus buy. So I'm not sure how big exactly you want to be building. Maybe not to the like consistent double grotto point. So that's a 3-card grotto from Jaywood. That's really nice. So that would be a good draw for them next turn. I'm not sure who's got the other grotto. Are they going to manage to draw another one? I don't know if the other one is in Cattallia's deck. I've not paid attention. Oh, this was kind of close to being able to activate Leprechaun. Well, I guess that was using capitalism actually for the later actions, so kind of not really. Yeah, that's a good point, Mario. You can do a kind of biophase thing with figurines where you draw cards with figurine and then play them even if they're actions using capitalism. That's quite neat. That could definitely allow you to get more cardinals going than you otherwise might. Oh, did we get a wish? I missed that too. Oh no, we did not get a wish. That's a shame. But did set aside another 4 cards with grotto. I like that. So the players are well into having started on their provinces, which seems quite early to me, but that seems to be the way we're going. Jaywood has drawn their other grotto here, which is quite fortunate, so can set aside. Maybe consider setting aside the Leprechaun. Like, you can't activate it here. Maybe if you think you can activate it next turn, that would be... Well, no, what am I talking about? The Leprechaun will go in the discard. You definitely won't draw it next turn. I would still consider setting it aside because I wouldn't want to play it here, but it seems like the players are in the mindset of just play the Leprechauns, get the golds. Which, if that's what you want, then fine. It's going to be no grotto here for Jaywood, so this might be a run of good turns coming to a bit of an end. Top decking a gold here, so yeah, exactly. I know that's a nice hex, a boony kind of hex. Yeah, top deck a gold. You don't need it this turn. So Cattallia is exiling something. Oh, I was wrong about the capitalism earlier with the play order, because Cattallia doesn't have capitalism, right? Which I think is probably a good decision, honestly. I don't think these decks, the way they're set up, terribly need capitalism. Is Jaywood willing to take the last province here? So Cattallia would need more than a province worth of points to win, which could be possible with, for example, giving a curse, but Jaywood does have the Bane in hand. That's lucky. Yeah, that could have been a tie for Cattallia if Jaywood had not had the Bane, so that was pretty unlucky actually for Cattallia there. And there goes the last province. Wow, that was a really fast game. I sort of managed to keep up with what the players were doing. Just barely. Okay, so that was win for Jaywood, who I did think had overall the better approach there with the grottos. I really liked the grottos. That was the main difference in the players there, I would probably say. But yes, it also was quite close the way it swung out, so could have gone the other way for sure. Okay, Cattallia's turn to be first player. Let's see what we get next. I really wish they would slow down a little bit. Yeah, I think in particular Jaywood was quite lucky to draw the Bane in that last hand, but also Jaywood was promoting having good draws by setting aside cards with grotto and drawing more cards, which obviously means you're more likely to find your good cards even if you don't have deck control. Okay, what have we got here? I can see Sea Witch. That's often an important card. We've got Workers' Village for village and buy. There's also Abundance for buy. Seize the Day might be tactically important at some point. Generally here the draw seems pretty reasonable. There's Sea Witch, which is good for reliability. There's plenty of villagers to go with that, and then there's Storyteller to help things along if needed. Players have gone with Shantytown Port for Jaywood and Abundance Shantytown for Cattallia. I like Abundance Shantytown better of those two because Jaywood put an awful lot of villagers in, which, I mean, I guess if you don't have terminals then the Shantytown is going to draw, but even so, all these villagers don't seem like they're doing a ton for you in the opening here, whereas at least the Abundance, if you buy a Settlers or something, you can maybe get a more expensive card as well. I think my priority here would be trying to hit 5, because once again we have no thinning at all here, and therefore, I mean, Sea Witch is very often a very strong card even if there is thinning, but here you really want to be getting those curses into your opponent's deck. So I would have prioritised an opening of trying to hit 5. Yeah, that's a fair point, Moyo. Avoid does a little bit to help you avoid bad cards, but curses are still something you don't want in your deck, is my feeling. So yeah, I think I would have inclined to do something like maybe Silver's Shantytown, something along those lines. Silver, also not crazy. Later the Silvers with Storyteller can help you draw. Or making use of Avoid in the right spot here early on tactically could potentially help you hit that 5, I think. Silver Avoid Settlers or double Avoid. Yeah. Something along those lines could be good. So here, Jaywood has 6. I would definitely, yeah, Sea Witch. I like it. Good. So these are going to be quite messy decks. The Sea Witch will help a ton with start of turn reliability if you can get them down consistently, but it's going to be quite hard to get to that place, I think. Gold, I think, is not what I would take here. You really want these Sea Witches. That's super important. Don't really need more money in your deck, certainly not at this stage. You're not able to draw consistently yet. This is a nice turn from Jaywood. I would have definitely taken another Sea Witch here because you just want to be playing those consistently, I think, ideally. Sea Witch here for Cattallia would be great. No, it's going for King's Cash. Okay. The thing is, you're not going to be able to pair that consistently with your plus buy in this deck, so it's going to be hard, I think, to get max value out of it until you... now we got a Sea Witch. Perfect. I like that. Good pivot, in my opinion. The Settlers are not bad here, I think, because the decks are junky. At least at this stage, the players are definitely not drawing, so there's often going to be coppers in the discard. We're not thinning the coppers, so they're going to stay there, and once you get reliable, the Sea Witch can potentially discard some coppers at the start of your turn that Settlers can then pick back up, so it kind of obviates the Sea Witch discard a bit, so I don't mind having some Settlers in this deck at all. This is a nice turn for Cattallia. Has managed to line up a good amount of money and the Workers' Village plus buy and an Abundance plus buy here, so that's quite nice. I would take another Sea Witch for sure. Oh, just more Sea Witches, that's what I would want. Provincing starting at this point seems unnecessary to me. It's quite a bit more I can do. Double Abundance, interesting. I would like to have more reliability in the deck before pitching the Abundances in. Unless you meant double Avoid, were you? I didn't even check whether it was there. Yeah, they were going to shuffle. Shantytown gets to draw, that's nice. So here's King's Cash, and there is a plus buy around, so it's definitely not totally wasted, so that's nice. Yeah, here could avoid for I would have taken the avoid over the settlers here, I think. So Cattallia is now ahead by 2 provinces. Jaywood is, well, I was about to say still building, but just took a gold, which seems somewhere in the midpoint between building and provincing to me. Don't think these decks really need more money. So Cattallia would have found King's Cash. It could have been 3 buys with a Sea Witch and Prov, maybe something else. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. That could have been an option. Settlers gets to pick up another copper, which is nice. Sea Witch didn't draw anything dead, which is also nice. Abundance can't activate here, and Avoid doesn't do anything here, so this looks like a buy nothing turn to me. I don't think you want the estate. Well ahead on points. You're gonna draw through this deck. The game is not super close to ending, so feels unnecessary to me to add that junk card in. Oh, here Jaywood has the problem where here's King's Cash with some golds, but no plus buy, so it's really not doing anything. I think getting more reliable would be key to making these decks a bit more effective. Settlers doing some nice work again there. Yeah, 4 avoids does sound quite nice, Furkle. Seize the Day is still open for both players as well, so that's something to watch out for around now. If particularly if maybe Cattallia had had 12 here, that might have been something to consider. Take a province, see if you can get another one on your Seize the Day turn, but obviously they didn't actually have it, so again I would not have taken the estate here. You've now shuffled an estate into your deck. You didn't particularly need those points. It's just another junk card. So Jaywood, avoid again doesn't do anything here. I guess Jaywood, given the game state, kind of could consider, yeah, you're not going to shuffle this turn, so the avoid doesn't help, but maybe it's just an alternative to buying nothing, which is fair enough. It's just as easy to click avoid as it is to click end buys. Cattallia taking more estates. Here I think it's a bit more defensible, like you may not get through this deck before the provinces run. That is possible, though I think it's going to be a bit hard to province now. The decks are quite junky. There's an abundance down, but we don't really have super cheap actions left to make money off it. Both being nice with only 1 Sea Witch. Yeah, I would want way more Sea Witches here. I think that's the main thing I would propose to do differently here. Hi spectators. I was just clicking on to see who was watching. Okay, I guess Jaywood should take the province here and hope Cattallia has like a series of bad turns. Getting a Sea Witch down is really nice for Cattallia. They should probably seize the day here, I would think, and hope to province with the Sea Witch coming in. Don't know how likely it is, but there's quite a lot of money in this remaining part of the deck, I think. Oh, taking gardens, okay. What can Jaywood do? Unfortunately, 2 of these shanty towns are just not doing a ton. I think Shantytown is the worst village by quite a long way on this board. Oh, we're both digging into the gardens. These are quite fat decks, so the gardens are worth, what, 3 points easily? Could imagine getting that up to 4 before the game ends. Here's the last province for Cattallia, so that is Owen. Very good. Alright, so that's 1 each. That game, I will say, was a little easier to follow, so that was nice for me. And good to draw it even from the perspective of an exciting match, so good stuff. Jaywood's turn. to be first player again. Ooh, possession. Possession and it's tireless. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's exciting. You discard a tireless card and play, set it aside and put it onto your deck at the end of turn. Okay. Well, I don't know how much difference that really makes to how possession is gonna play. Maybe it does. What else do we have? There's Bridge Troll. Draw looks a bit awkward with Paddock. Yeah, there's also like lots of 2s here, and Sycophant and Plateau Shepherds in particular can be a thing where you get favours with Sycophant and you also get a 2-cost card, and then you can maybe Stonemason. Well, you can Stonemason for Sycophant for a start, so that's like 3 2-cost cards into your deck all at once and 4 favours. So yeah, that might be something to consider. The players are going for, so Jaywood opened with Paddock and Sulla. Cattallia opened with Sycophant and Paddock. So I can definitely understand going for the Paddocks here, because that is the draw, really. It's going to be hard to play multiples of them because the village is Royal Carriage, which obviously you need something to call that on. You can call it on Paddock itself for sure, but that, until there's a pile empty, that doesn't get you an extra action, it just gets you an extra Paddock play, which is, you know, a good thing, but it doesn't let you play a Bridge Troll as well or something like that. Once a pile empties, Paddock seems great. It's probably good before that as well, it's just a bit more tricky. Okay, Cattallia's putting the potion in, and yeah, I mean, ultimately getting a possession here seems definitely relevant. I do think it's going to be hard to play it consistently, but, well, apart from the fact that it's tireless, right? So if you can draw it back off the top of your deck, then certainly you can play it again. But if the other person has also played a possession, then they'll have that turn with your deck where they can draw the possession off the top. And tireless, is tireless optional? No, it's not. Okay, but when the other player is possessing your deck, they won't play the possession. Obviously, that would do them no good at all. So yeah, tireless kind of does nothing if both players are consistently playing possession, I guess. I'm really not following at all what the players are doing here, unfortunately. Cattallia could have discarded a Bridge Troll to hit 7 for, I guess, a Stonemason for Royal Carriage. Yeah, it seems like probably time to be putting some Royal Carriages in. They have a Bridge Troll each, is that right? Certainly Cattallia has at least one. I think they have one each. The Cellar is doing some work there. That's quite nice, getting to the end of the shuffle. I can see only one amulet gone, which is very surprising to me because amulet is the thinning here, and I would think it would be good to get thin so that you can find these good cards. Play possession. Cattallia has the amulet. Thank you, Mayo. I did not know what was the case there. So I like that for Cattallia. But doesn't appear to have trashed any cards with it, so that seems a bit suboptimal. This is going to hit possession if Cattallia wants to, which I assume they do. So on the whole, from what I've actually followed, I'm liking Cattallia's deck here, I would say. What else is going on? Jaywood has a figurine. That's seems like not a bad thing to have in this. I could have Stonemason for possession, but do you want 2 possessions? Don't really know that you do. I mean, maybe in this deck there's a lot of junk about, you just want to find one more often. I want to thin and just have 1 possession. Right. You just play, I guess if your opponent is not playing possession, then the tireless thing does work for you. So in that you can find it every other turn if you're not drawing off the top. So if you didn't have a horse or something in hand, then you would need more than one in deck. I don't know, I feel like you can get more consistent than that with this deck, so I'm not so sure that you need more than one. But Cattallia has now in fact taken a second, in which case, yeah, if they were planning to do that all along, I definitely agree they should have just stonemasoned for 2 of them in the first place. Has not managed to find a possession yet, but it'll be coming up in this shuffle. Ah, I like that, a carriaged paddock, very nice, so there'll be plenty of horses in. So a nasty thing you can do here on a possession turn, of course, is use up all the opponent's horses. You can also like stonemason their expensive cards to gain expensive cards for yourself. Not that they lose the trashed card, of course, it will come back because of the crazy things possession does, but it's still nice as a gainer. Jaywood has got possession of their own now, so that'll be coming around. Okay, Cattallia has found theirs. Is the last card the other possession? I didn't follow exactly when the shuffle was. If so, they should probably not play the horse. They should probably just play Sycophant and possession, I think. Oh, we have a possession turn here. Right. So yes. Okay, it wasn't the last card, and of course Cattallia is being possessed, so as Jaywood you certainly want to play the horse. Yeah, I agree, Moyo, they haven't really spotted the stonemason overpay, it would seem, which is a bit unfortunate. Jaywood did manage to use up a horse of Cattallia's, which is cute, and Cattallia's actual turn here is going to get a possession played as well, so that's exciting. There we go. What to buy here? Maybe royal carriage? Maybe figurine? Duchy. Not sure about that. I would very much expect this game to end on piles because of stonemason largely, and possibly because of the plateau shepherd stuff, and there's like triumphal arch in the mix there as well, which all of this seems to be pushing you towards like lots of cheap action cards, but possession does definitely disrupt things. Okay, so Jaywood got a royal carriage out of Cattallia's possession here, but mainly just kind of skipped a bad turn for Cattallia, so that's kind of nice for Cattallia. Play the possession here. Obviously you don't want to call royal carriage on... apparently you do want to call... So possession has had errata where you can't use it to take a second extra turn in a row, so calling royal carriage on possession isn't going to help you. You'll still only get one possession turn. They might not be familiar with the errata. This is not the greatest possession turn, but not... Oh, wait, have we played a possession here on a possession turn? Well, this is confusing. So now Jaywood gets a possession turn, but then... No, I'm pretty sure it's not the case that then like the other possession turn comes back, right? Gosh, how does possession work? Who even knows? Not me, evidently. This is still a possession turn. Oh, but this is also because the possession turn was just played on another possession turn. Oh my goodness. I am so lost. Yes, I think indeed it is a tennis possession game. What is happening? I have no clue as to whose turn it is and what's going on. I would admit defeat and just start buying provinces at this point, which indeed Cattallia seems to agree with me on. Or Jaywood rather, that was a possession turn. It's just all possession turns. Alright, a real turn. Okay, jaywood is having a real turn and should play the possession here. It does work the fun way. Okay, have you figured it out, Furcol? So it was worth calling the royal carriage on that possession, you're saying, so that you could interleave that additional second possession turn after playing jaywood's possession while possessing them. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I'm going to believe you because I have absolutely no evidence to the contrary and I cannot possibly try to decipher it from the logs, so cool. Let's go with that. Okay. Cattallia has a possession turn here, has chosen not to. jaywood has not played a possession this turn. I like that. Let's reach towards sanity. So Cattallia's actual turn is a bit unfortunate. Just got some sycophants. On 3, I think, well, is it too late for amulet? I still do want to thin these decks. The other thing I would consider is U-chart. Yes, completely agree, jaywood. All of that is absolute madness. Everything about this game is madness. So what's the situation? Sycophants are gone. Nothing has been stonemasoned for still. I think probably the vibe I'm getting is that stonemason is probably not going to come into play here, which is a bit sad. You could choose Cattallia if you hate possession, like most people, to add it to your ban list, which I think I saw at the top here. I think nobody's banning, oops, anything. Yeah. So you do have an empty ban list that you could use to put possession on and not have to play with it. That would be probably my recommendation. I only did it relatively recently myself, actually. I don't mind a crazy possession game once in a while, but I don't really want to play with it in League. It's a silly card. jaywood using possession turn to take another gold here. So now that there's a pile empty, paddocks look really good to me, apart from the fact that there's possession and your opponent can burn your horses. I don't know, maybe paddock is bad. It's hard to say. I think I would still take paddocks and hope to get better control and play the possession more consistently than my opponent, kind of from this point of what the decks are doing. So nice turn from jaywood. Got some horses in, got a possession into play, so it's going to get a possession turn. What to buy here? Could stonemason for paddocks, maybe. Could take more bridge troll, because now you can royal carriage your paddocks for actions as well. It's a bit easier to play multiple terminals per turn. Bridge troll mega turn. Yeah, that seems a bit tough to me here. Like, certainly you would have needed to get thin with amulet at the start of the game, right? And then maybe it does become viable. I don't really know how that plays out with possession, I'm gonna be honest. Cattallia, I'm guessing, is going to get a province here. We're probably just going to work towards emptying the provinces, I think, from this point. Yeah. I mean, it's true, Furcol, but if your opponent is not playing possession consistently, I think that changes the game a bit. I agree in principle, I just think in practice, with the way these decks have gone, that having some payload in your own deck is a thing as well. Yeah, completely true as well about Sycophant, that it's super nice with the Plateau Shepherds. It's just a good way to score, especially with Stonemason in the mix. This was a solo that didn't have anything to discard. That's a bit sad. Overall, I'm not really sure what the goal has been for these players. Like, obviously they've been trying to play possessions, but there hasn't been building towards a consistent deck that can get possession down. There's been some greening and then some taking of more kingdom cards as well. I guess mostly they've greened consistently and added more money since they've been able to green. That's unfortunate for Jaywood drawing the possession with the figurine. But at least it gets a province, which at this point seems to be just the thing to go for. Try and empty the provinces, try and play a possession whenever you can. Here's another province for Cattallia. Jaywood has a fairly big points lead, but Cattallia is going to catch up a fair amount here because, well, the possession turn is not amazing. Yeah, just sell everything probably and see that improves matters a bit. You get some horses for yourself as well, which is nice. Don't quite reach province. Yeah, at this point, just getting into the duchies seems fine, especially since Cattallia needs to build up some more points. I guess don't discard with sycophant. Well, maybe it's fine. You might draw another action with bridge troll. Oh, with figurine is what I meant. But discarding the bridge troll is surprising to me. I'm not sure why Jaywood did that. I would have wanted to get the bridge troll down. So I've not really been trying to follow the Plateau Shepherd's points at all. They both have a pretty good number of favours. Yeah, but do you think that Cattallia was gonna... I guess if you thought it was very likely that a possession would get played, which maybe it was, then there's some sense in that. The Plateau Shepherd's points I have not managed to track really. They both have a lot of favours. I think surely more favours than they have 2-cost cards. Can that be true? If the sycophants are all gone, yeah, there's still estates in deck, and there's one estate gone. There's a couple of sellers. Yeah, maybe it's relatively close actually. Duchies are out. Jaywood still has the points lead, and here's a possession. Not sure what Jaywood's gonna buy here. Maybe like stonemason for sellers or something to get the Plateau Shepherd's points. Estate is probably not crazy. Just takes another estate off the possession turn. Nice to get Cattallia's royal carriage off the mat as well on the possession turn. That's quite mean. This is a good turn though for Cattallia. This is certainly into province, but not clear whether that's a good plan. Oh, finding the bridge troll here really helps. Okay, so double province would not do it here. I could imagine there's some combo of like stonemason, Plateau Shepherd's points that would be beneficial here, but yeah, I guess that probably was just the move, and then you hope to... Well, another province still isn't enough, right? You need considerably more than that. I don't know. I would need longer to think about it, to be honest. I'm playing quite fast again. Looks like maybe this will just finish on estates. Oh, but Cattallia can't really take them here because that pretty much just hands the win to Jaywood, right? Oh, that was a possession turn, right? Of course. Oh my goodness, I am not following what's going on. Right, so that made perfect sense for Jaywood to do because, of course, it was a possession turn. What is Mo saying? Gaining horses. Cattallia was about to be possessed, but right now Paddock is a village. I'm not entirely sure that's what that's in reference to, sorry. I'm sure that was a very coherent response to some nonsense that I said. But Yeah, that was a game. That was certainly a game. I was quite ineffective in commentating there, but jaywood did win it. Okay. Could we try to have a sane game next? That would be nice. 2-1 to jaywood. So I think we're just on player 1 so far, right? Let's see if that will continue. Okay. Oh, well, it's Lurker Hunting Grounds. I wonder if these players are familiar with that combo. So the idea here is you just put lurkers into your deck. Every time you see a lurker, you trash your Hunting Grounds. When you trash this, as the effect on Hunting Grounds, you gain a duchy or 3 estates. So you gain a duchy each time, to start with at least. You just keep buying lurkers, which are very cheap, so you don't particularly need to find anything good in your deck for that. You keep playing them to trash Hunting Grounds, and eventually you empty the duchies, then you empty the estates, and that is a very quick way to end the game. It's almost always the monolithic thing to do when Lurker and Hunting Grounds are on the same board. Seems that the players are not familiar with that combo, which is pretty understandable. If you're a more casual player, why would you study these silly combos? So we're going to have a real game, which is quite nice actually, because Lurker Hunting Grounds games are pretty stupid. So what's going on? They've gone straight for this sack of loot, so we're keen on getting some loots into these decks. Cattallia opened Pageant Silver. jaywood opened Shantytown Pageant. Yeah, setting aside Lurker Hunting Grounds, I like those openings okay. Maybe here Joust could outpace the Lurker Hunting Grounds deck. Oh, I hadn't even clocked that Joust was here. Right, so that's a very important card, probably, I would think. Yeah. So the rewards are really strong. I don't think I would expect Joust to outpace Lurker Hunting Grounds. I could be wrong. I would not expect it. So yeah, given that Joust is here, like, getting an early province would definitely not be crazy, except that Cattallia doesn't have a Joust yet, I guess, so probably taking it there would not be the thing. The players seem to be going for more a thing with, yeah, I would agree, Thurkle, that would be my expectation too. The players are putting loots in the deck and hoping to draw lots of money, I think, is their general approach here. So I'm not sure. The Cattallia has just Lurkered a Joust, so maybe Cattallia is planning to go the Joust route. And so jaywood doesn't have a Lurker at the moment, so Cattallia can with impunity just leave things in the trash until they draw around to their Lurker again. So as jaywood, I would put a Lurker in here in the hope that you can snatch that Joust before Cattallia gets back around to the Lurker. That would be my thought. So once again we have a no thinning board, right? We've had a few of those, which is a bit unfortunate. So the decks are going to be junky and unreliable. I feel like there's not a whole ton you can do about that here. Like, Haven can help you out a little bit. Figurehead is quite nice for some start of turn draw. jaywood seems to be playing money deck with some draw. Yeah, that seems to be the objective here with lots of sacks of loot. Does have a province now, but no Joust. Cattallia has put some more component-y stuff in. There's a village here, there's draw. Really nice to line those up with each other. So maybe Cattallia is going to find their Lurker here and we'll be able to get that Joust. Getting emissary seems quite nice. Like, there may be chances to activate emissary here, and if you have universities, it's good to have a draw card for sure. Okay, so Cattallia now has the province, and Joust has still not come out of the trash. Huh, spell scroll and lurker is funny. That's a thing you can lurk back as well. But Cattallia doesn't need to be too worried about rushing to get the Joust out of the trash in terms of Jaywood sniping it, because Jaywood doesn't have a lurker still. That was a nice emissary activation there. So it does seem like there's a bit of province rushing occurring here. Only 3 left, so I'm not sure the Joust is really going to get online in time to be very effective here. Cattallia has taken the spell scroll instead of the Joust, which seems highly logical because the spell scroll can become a Joust if you wanted to, right? So that makes sense to me. Yeah, the thinning indeed doesn't seem to be relevant at this point. This is just going to end on provinces in fairly short order by the looks of things. Jaywood's taking a duchy, which at this point, yeah, maybe I could see it. Oh, that was a nice postcode. It chooses not to trash with it, which, yeah, maybe at this point a copper is not the worst thing to have in your deck. So this is a province for Cattallia, but that seems unwise because, okay, does go for it. It seems very likely that Jaywood's gonna hit province in the next couple of turns before Cattallia can catch up, so this is just a win. This was another really quick game. The Lurker Hunting Grounds thing would have finished a few turns ago for sure, but didn't take too long to clear out the provinces here. And that was a win for Jaywood, so we've broken first player supremacy. So yeah, Jaywood is now up 3-1. And so I think with that game it's no longer possible for Cattallia to get the promotion. So we're playing now just for the fun and glory for the remaining games. Okay, what's here? I think I forgot to click on the kingdom button in the last game. A mass for witch certainly looks like a good opening, especially given that thinning is quite awkward here. It's just temple, and temple is terminal, and there are no villagers. So yeah, this board looks fairly unpleasant actually. Yeah, Travelling Pharaoh Mass Witch would be a pretty crazy open for sure. Neither of them actually had 4 on turn 1, so it wasn't an option. Jaywood has a Groom. I'm not so sure about that because I don't think Groom has that many great targets here. Yeah, I guess just using it to gain silvers is maybe not crazy. I think I do want to have a temple in deck, even though it's going to be hard to play it, because if it's colliding with witch, you'd rather play witch. Witch is maybe going to draw it dead. I still think it would be worth getting in the odd trash here and there when you don't have terminal collision, so I would have probably rather taken that, but probably it's more important to get to witch in the beginning. Although there's a mass, so you don't really need to worry about that, right? I think I would have just opened double a mass for 2 witches, personally. There's a council room in Cattallia's deck, which I think witch is probably just better given the trashing situation. Cattallia does not have a temple, which, yeah, I agree with getting a temple. You'll be able to play it at least a little bit, I would think, because you're not going to find the witches consistently. Of course, there's Farrier, which is good for like one-shot draw, which can help you find your witch early on and also increase the likelihood of colliding your witches and your temples, which maybe makes the temple a bit less appealing, but I don't know. I would probably still agree with just putting one in there. There has been one Farrier gone. This is too many terminals in the decks, in my opinion. I don't think these council rooms are good. They're just going to draw cards for your opponent, draw your witch and stuff dead. And you don't need it for the buy because there's travelling first, so I don't hugely agree with the council rooms. Got to temple here. Yeah, witch money at first. Oh, you do want to turn it into council room money. Okay, I mean, sure, once the curses are gone, then playing council room seems probably more attractive than playing witch. Oh, these greens are gaining estates. Or one of them anyway. Seems a bit early for that to me. Yeah, Farrier makes some amount of sense there. Hope to find your witch. Get these last curses into your opponent's deck. This is a place where I do not entirely disagree with just throwing some golds into the deck. It's going to be quite a money-ish deck. And if you've got already sufficient witches, there's not many curses left, there's already a council room in there, taking gold on 6 definitely makes sense, I think. Jaywood is starting on the provinces, which, yeah, also that going for that early in this particular case doesn't seem crazy to me. Cattallia played Temple and chose to only trash a curse, which seems really surprising to me. I would have wanted to trash Curse Copper Estate there, get as much junk out with that one precious temple play as you could. Jaywood gets another curse into Cattallia's deck, which seems nice. Once again we've got, well, this Settlers in particular didn't manage to do anything, but again we've got Settlers probably putting in some work generally, because these are junky decks, there's going to be coppers in the discard. Drawing them is no bad thing. Probably another gold for Jaywood. Scepter, yeah, Scepter not crazy either. Province for Cattallia, I'm guessing. Yeah, so we're just kind of on with the greening wherever possible at this point. Once again, I definitely would have trashed copper there as well, especially since Jaywood seems to be preferring Scepter over gold. So, well, I did take the gold here. I think that's fine, but I would have trashed the copper. There's a bit of a temple war going on, taking the VP from that. I wonder if Cattallia will trash copper here, given that, yeah, so there you can't even buy anything, right? So it seems, I wonder if Cattallia hasn't realised that temple can trash multiple cards. That seems possible. What to do here is Jaywood. Maybe just play the Scepter for coins and take... Well, you can green for 2 silvers actually, that's better than buying 1 silver, right? Okay, taking another groom. Not sure about that. Still a couple of curses left. with Cattallia. Yeah, Cattallia did trash a copper here, so Cattallia does want to trash coppers. I think they must just have not realised that Temple can trash multiple cards. That's a province for Jaywood, who now has a reasonably big points lead. Cattallia can province here. Drawing the Witch dead is sad because there is still a couple of curses to get out. The players do not want to trash estates, which, I mean, I guess makes sense given the fact that they've been gaining estates, though I think that's been with Groom, right, which I assume was mostly opportunistic in wanting to draw another card. Probably Duchy given the situation at this point. Oh, it's another scepter. Okay. I don't know. I'm finding it hard to have super strong opinions on this game. It's just a money thing. Cattallia has managed to catch up the points lead, which was pretty good for them. This is a nice turn for Jaywood there. Doesn't quite make it to province, but probably didn't want to take a province here anyway, because that would have left a good chance that Cattallia could take the win. I think play Witch. It's still good to... Well, yeah, I could believe this was the right play as well, to be honest. I'm not sure about taking the province though, because there's still a decent chance that you just leave it open to Jaywood here. Jaywood does not quite hit the province, but can take Duchy, and has given out a curse, which is nice. Curse is gone now. It's another Duchy for Cattallia. This is really neck and neck. It's just a question of who provinces first now, basically, which Jaywood can Green for another estate here, which certainly seems good at this point. Temple can get another victory point. Oh, trashing estate now? I mean, yeah, that didn't make sense to me, because Jaywood didn't need the extra copper there to buy the estate. Yeah, I'm not sure about that play. In general, Temple trashing estate seems good. I would just think you would do it a lot earlier if you wanted to get the estates out. Oh, there we go, I missed the end of the game. Whoops. Jaywood managed to close it out with the last province. Okay. So that's 4-1 to Jaywood as we go into the last game. Yeah, that was fairly gambly indeed towards the end. Here we go, last one. What do we have? Ooh, okay, this looks like a potentially complicated board. I'm mainly saying that because of cavalry, I think, which is an exciting card. So Berserker is quite an oppressive attack. Here there's plenty of trashing for once. Looks like mainly priest. Maybe you could throw a monastery in as well, depending. Cattallia has opened Landing Party Silver. Jaywood has opened Gladiator Rustic Village. So given that we've got a rustic village, this great leader is probably going to activate. So everything's going to be non-terminal. A bit like having a champion down without the attack protection. So that's great for cavalry, is mainly what I think about that. So yeah, cavalry seems important here, both for its on-gain effect, which is usually like the main thing about cavalry, but also eventually it's going to be a really nice card in your deck as well, just non-terminally gaining horses. That's amazing. Neither player has... oh no, someone's picked up a monastery. Who's taken the monastery? Jaywood. Okay, so that seems good. I would want priest. I would have opened priest here, I'm pretty sure. So you can get this deck nice and thin and consistent eventually. Having the landing parties initially seems pretty okay. Like, you're gonna have the occasional turn like this where you can put them on top because you just have drawn treasures. Yeah, playing tiara first, certainly you would want to tiara your coins. So that's a bit confusing. Here comes the Berserker online. Don't really have a good sense, once again, of what's happening in the decks here. So Berserkering for cavalry would be great, except here Jaywood was out of actions, so maybe it wasn't exactly the spot for it. But ultimately, if you can play excuse me, a rustic village or a landing party and then play Berserker, Berserkering for cavalry seems amazing. Or of course, once the Great Leader is online, then you don't need to worry about having a village, just every action is non-terminal. So in general, I think Berserkering for cavalry is going to be an amazing thing. Jaywood could do that here. Who's got a priest? Cattallia has a priest. Great. I like that. Priest is something I want to be playing till I've got rid of all the junk in this deck. It's a little bit late to be getting it, but better late than never. Berserker gaining... I mean, Tiara is fine. I see nothing wrong with Tiara here at all, but you could have played on with this turn by gaining cavalry with Berserker, drawing some cards off the top. Then you'd have a cavalry in your deck ready for Great Leader coming up. Here Jaywood has figured out to use the Tiara to double play a treasure. Great, that's much better. Could even buy a cavalry here. Wants another Berserker, okay. But didn't want to play it. Interesting. I guess just wants the attack next turn. Excuse me. Second priest. Yeah, put it on top. Sure, I'm on board with that play. I don't think silver here is the thing. Like, you can definitely get deck control. I wouldn't want to be throwing money into this deck yet. It's okay to have like a tiara or two for the plus buy, I think, but this is a deck you can definitely get control of, and before you do that, putting too much payload into it just doesn't seem necessary to me. So here it would, I mean, it doesn't really matter because there's already more plus buys than you can use here, but in general, playing tiara on tiara is the way to go, because then you double the amount of plus buy you're getting from the second tiara, as well as, it doesn't affect the number of coins you can generate, but it does affect the number of buys. Didn't matter in that case, but just generally there's not usually a reason not to play tiara on tiara if you have multiple tiaras in hand. Okay, the Great Leader is online, so that's quite exciting. So from now on, I think throwing cavalries into your deck is going to be really, really strong. I would definitely gain on with Berserker here. Get these last two cards off the top of your deck. Maybe you can do something with them, I don't know what they are. And then the cavalries themselves are going to be good cards as well, because they can gain 2 horses non-terminally, which is sweet. Hadn't really properly observed the fact that we've got a colony game here, so that's even more incentive. Yeah, that's exactly like I was saying. Yeah, the incentive to build quite big here is even greater with colonies around. So I definitely think working a bit harder on thinning the bad cards out of the deck would be good here. Cavalry, go on, let's do it. Take the cavalry. Okay. Rustic village. Yeah, the villages at this point, they don't do very much, right? Because Great Leader is here, so you no longer need actions, and the suns become irrelevant once they're all gone. And this card effect, like, it can be okay if you have a really junky deck. But yeah, I think they both have a landing party. Yeah, the discarding effect on Rustic Village, it can be okay. But here, ideally, I think you wouldn't need it because it is possible to get quite thin here. So you're not generally... You can get quite a reliable deck, is what I'm trying to say. So discarding 2 cards to draw 1, giving up some hand size just in order to hope that you'll find a better card. Generally, that's not really something you want to be doing a ton. And sure, it could be fine to have 1 or 2 knocking around in your deck, but you already had those from before the Great Leader activation when you needed the village, so I don't know that at this point taking more rustic villages is very important. Oh, yes, yes, yes! This is what I was hoping for. Berserker for cavalry. Love it. This is exactly what I was hoping to see. I would have taken another cavalry here, honestly. You can just ram cavalries into your deck at this point. They're going to be great. Draw onto your priests. You can play all your priests because everything's non-terminal. You can get nice and thin. Your deck is going places at that point. You can build towards colonies. Somewhere along the line, Fortune has been revealed, so with a reliable deck, that would be a super nice thing to have in your deck. Maybe you can get a platinum or 2, then you can have really huge turns with tiaraing platinum and then playing a Fortune. That's a lot of money. Okay, Cattallia chose not to gain another cavalry this time, which is a bit sad. Did you not love it when that happened? I want to do it again. Yeah, Jaywood's got a Fortune. That's exciting. Puts it straight on top. Oh, and this is quite a good hunt for it. Yeah, that's a great point, Moyo. You can just play your 5 coins, get your landing party on top, draw your buy cavalry, and then 4 coins, quite right. And then start your turn again, essentially, with a landing party. That's pretty nice. Jaywood has got a platinum in deck, which is certainly nice to have, but because of the lack of consistency, they're not going to be able to pair it reliably with a tiara for both the plus buy and the doubling effect. So I would want to keep getting draw in the shape of cavalry, keep trashing, get the deck more reliable. This is good from Cattallia. I like that we're playing cavalry. I hope we're going to gain another cavalry here. Nope, it's another tiara. Okay. Still, not a bad turn. Well, Jaywood takes a colony, so I guess this is as far as we're going to build, just kind of hoping to single colony on at least some turns. So I think if Cattallia were to keep building with cavalries and the like, and with more trashing, they could overtake this plan from Jaywood. But I'm not sure that's what we're going to see, because I don't think that's entirely the direction Cattallia seems to be going either. Oh, this Berserker does kind of hurt for Cattallia. Although I guess like neither the Rustic Village nor the Priest is actually doing that much here, so Cattallia can, discard those put the landing party back on top and afford, I'm guessing it's going to be colony. I would still keep building, but I suspect it's just going to be a colony. And it is nice to get the landing party back on top for sure. Kiln is nice to gain actions. Yeah, I don't think I'd want one here until the deck control was good, but at that point I think I would agree. Does not seem bad to have. You can like kiln for a cavalry, that's pretty sweet. So it's looking from this point like we're just going to try and race to empty the colonies. Jaywood has taken a 2-colony lead on that front. I do feel like Cattallia might have the slightly better deck in terms of thinning, is that true? I'm not actually sure, because Jaywood did get the monastery sooner. Cattallia has the 2 priests, I think. Certainly Cattallia has 1 priest. I don't remember who took the 2nd priest actually. So it could actually be quite close on thinning, I might be mistaken. Ah, here we go, tiara on tiara. Yes, that's good. I mean, here it doesn't make a practical difference. You don't need all these buyers, but still it's definitely something that's good to be in the habit of, for sure. Cavalry? Players love the tiaras, which, I mean, I agree to an extent. It's a good card. It's particularly a good card here with platinum around. Tiara and platinum is great, but I wouldn't have expected it to be the first thing to empty, let's put it that way. Better to have fewer tiaras in your deck, but control over the deck so that you can draw them consistently. Yeah, cavalry can just vanish really fast here if the players choose to make that happen. Not sure if they will. Cattallia needs to do some catching up on points if they're gonna be in with a chance. Cattallia can discard and still province here and put the landing party back on top, so it's not the most painful discard really. Jaywood, I'm guessing, oh, Jaywood can't actually afford another colony here. Could just cavalry. Could have saved one of the tiaras even. Taken cavalry, see if you could draw like another platinum or something. Cattallia chooses to keep the gladiator and not put the landing party back on top. So Jaywood has a fairly hefty lead at this point. I would think Jaywood should be able to drain the piles more quickly than eating up all of the colonies, but I don't know if it's going to go that way. I have the feeling they might just keep taking colonies where possible, and the berserker is going to be helping with the piles, so maybe it will still pile first, but I don't know if Jaywood is going to be specifically aiming in that direction. We'll have to see. This is a nice turn with loads of landing parties, and did find the fortunes. This is lots of money. This can double colony, which I'm guessing Jaywood will do. Of course you can just take a ton of cavalries here as well, because they give you the plus buyback, so that would have been a totally another option. Cattallia making use of the rustic village effect to afford province. Okay. Kind of don't love that we got rid of a cavalry, but at this point I can see that you're just wanting to try and catch up a bit on points. It's a nice turn for Cattallia here. Can tiara the gold, play the fortune. Can't really risk taking a colony, but yeah, province makes sense. And this also of course puts the landing party back on top, which is great to have. Jaywood has once again got all these landing parties on top, which is nice, but this time doesn't draw a huge handful of money. Could of course cavalry here to draw some more coins, see if you can get that penultimate colony, which would be a pretty big thing to take. Once again chooses not to play the tiara on any coins, which is a bit strange. Just taking a silver. Not really following the logic of that. At this point I don't think top decking silver seems that good, because you have much better payload than that in your deck, right? This is a nice turn here from Cattallia, gets to tiara a platinum. Does this double province? I haven't counted. Yes it does, quite easily. I don't think it's going to be enough, like it's rather hard for Cattallia to catch up on points excuse me, at this point, but can do it, see what happens. Jaywood hasn't found the colony, but maybe at this point is, yeah, just working on the piles. So Jaywood only needs a double rustic village now to close it out. It's going to be really hard for Cattallia to catch up. This Berserker is doing some work, because Jaywood has all these nice landing parties in hand. Is going to have to discard one of them along with rustic village. But Cattallia still can't really make particularly significant progress here. So if Jaywood finds plus by this, yeah, here we go. This is the win in hand for Jaywood. More than, in fact, this should double colony even. Obviously the rustic villages is the much easier option, but this gets there on the double colony in any case, which is pretty cool. Alright, so a pretty convincing result for Jaywood in the end there with 5-1. Well played to them, well played to Cattallia as well. There was definitely some close games here, so good stuff. Thank you players for having us for your match, and thanks everyone for coming on and spectating. See you again.